Hi friends, welcome to SNCA Study Club, a platform for CA final students. So here we are moving towards essay 330, right? Essay 330. Auditor's response to assess risk of material misstatement. So first of all, auditor shall determine risk of material misstatement as per essay 315. We have already discussed with respect of essay 315. So auditor may identify the risk of material misstatement at the financial level and at the accession level. Accession level means account balance, class of transaction and disclosure. So if auditor identify any risk of material misstatement at the financial statement level, auditor should respond appropriately towards that assessed risk of material misstatement. So auditor should perform overall response. Auditor should perform overall response to address the overall risk at the financial statement. That is, auditor is identifying what risk of material misstatement at the financial statement. Then auditor should perform overall response to address that risk of material misstatement. So what are the activities or what are the procedure that is to be done by an auditor? Auditor should give emphasis on professional skepticism. That is, engagement partner should communicate with the members that you should exercise what? Professional skepticism. That is questioning mind, critical reasoning, etc. Then that is may or may not exist what? Fraud there or risk of material misstatement. There is not whether exist or not exist. At both condition, auditor should exercise what? Professional skepticism. That is, auditor have to assume that there is existing some risk of material misstatement and perform what? Audit procedure. Then auditor may employ experienced staff and expert for the purpose of addressing the overall risk at the financial statement level. Then auditor may employ more supervision, right? Then auditor should incorporate what? Element of unpredictability in selecting the audit procedure. That is, auditor may employ what? Routine audit procedure, but at the same time it will be suitable or it will, a healthy practice is to use what? Incorporate an element of unpredictability. Then auditor have to make some general changes to the nature, timing, extent of audit procedure. Suppose auditor identified a risk of material misstatement. In that case, auditor should incorporate what? Certain changes to the nature, timing, extent of audit procedure. Okay. So here we are again explaining audit evidence. Suppose the auditor who has been appointed an entity for interim period and he has done what? Or he has obtained audit evidence with respect of the operational efficiency of the control that is existing in that organization. And in year end, the same auditor is coming for the purpose of obtaining audit evidence. So in this case, we are determining whether audit evidence that has been obtained by an auditor during the interim period can be used for the purpose of what? Determining the operational efficiency. This is what we are going to discuss. So suppose A, who is the auditor, who has been appointed as an auditor of an entity and he has performed audit procedure. That is, he has performed what? Audit procedure. Then he got audit evidence with respect of what? Operational efficiency of the control for that interim period. Suppose 1st April up to what? 31st July. Okay, 31st July he was appointed as an auditor of that company, and thereafter at the year end the same auditor is coming to express an opinion on the financial statement. So in that case, auditor have to obtain what? Audit evidence with respect of the entity for the remaining period. That is, he has to obtain what? Audit evidence for the remaining period, right? So in this case we are determining whether he can use the audit evidence that has obtained during the interim period with respect of operational efficiency of the internal control. This is the question. Okay, that is, auditor who has been already audited or who has been already obtained audit evidence with respect of the operational efficiency of entities control for an interim period can use that evidence for the further purpose for the remaining period. So it is depends upon some factors. We are going to discuss that factors. If it is satisfactory, he can use that evidence. First of all, he should determine significant changes. Suppose he was obtained audit evidence with respect of what? Internal control system regarding the revenue collection. Okay, revenue collection. At that time, they were used to record these data through manually. That is, there was not have what? Automated or computerized system. But after 31st July, they used what? Automated machine, that is computer, or they made automated processing of these transactions, etc. So after that, up to July, manual system was there, or manually they were recorded all these procedures or all these transactions records, etc. But thereafter automated machine has been used. In that case, what happened? Significant change has been happened in between what? The operational efficiency of control, right? In that case, auditor have to determine which are the changes occurred, whether it is significant or not. Okay. In case if it is more significant, auditor may used, or auditor may have to apply the audit procedure with respect of what? The interim period also. Suppose they were manually recorded these, and when the automated machine has been introduced, they converted all these records or manual records into electronic mode. In that case, auditors still have to perform what? Further audit procedure, irrespective of the audit evidence that has been obtained by the auditor because, with respect of the interim period. Okay. So if the auditor who has obtained that audit evidence with respect of the interim period again appointed to express an opinion on the financial statement, auditor have to determine what? Significant changes. Then what? Auditor have to and determine whether it is required. Absolutely they will require to obtain additional audit evidence. So auditor have to obtain additional audit evidence for the remaining period, correct? Right? Then, so which are the factors that determine additional evidence for the remaining period with respect of operational efficiency of the control? Only with respect of what? Operational efficiency of control, which is stating that already audit procedure has been performed and the same is appointed again. So, which are the factors that is considering additional audit evidence with respect of what? Operational efficiency of the internal control for the remaining period. So, I have explained the factors, okay? First of all, he have to determine the significance of assessed risk of material misstatement at the accession level. It means if he have already identified or determined any risk of material misstatement at the accession level, that is account balance, class of transaction and disclosure, he have to determine its significance. That is how much of this is material to that entity. In that case, if it is more material, he have to apply more audit procedure for the remaining period for the purpose of obtaining additional audit evidence. So first of all, significance of identified or assessed risk of material misstatement as per SA 315. That is SA 315 is used for the purpose of determining the risk of material misstatement. Then what? Specific control tested over the interim period. That is, I have already explained. In the interim period, whatever the procedure which has been performed, auditor have to determine the procedure that has been performed by him during that interim period. Whether he has tested any specific control, that he has to determine for the purpose of obtaining what? Audit evidence, right? Then degree of audit evidence obtained about the operational efficiency of the control. That is, I have already explained, this is a case where the auditor who has audited the interim period again coming to determine the operational efficiency for the remaining period. In that case, he is also required to determine the degree of audit evidence that has been obtained with respect of the operational efficiency. To what extent he has obtained audit evidence with respect of the operational efficiency of the control at the interim period. He should determine that. If he had to get more degree or more audit evidence, he may require to apply what? Less audit procedure for getting audit evidence with respect of the remaining period. And if he obtain only low, that is low quantity of audit evidence with respect of that interim period regarding the operational efficiency, he have to apply what? More audit procedure, that is more test or control procedure, so as to determine the operational efficiency of the control. I hope you have understanding. Actually there is have a lot of misunderstanding while we are studying this 315 and 330. I have explained my maximum level best, and if you have any doubt, if you put in the comment box, I will try my level best to correct it or to answer it properly. Okay, so Then length of the remaining period. In the given case, he has audited only from April, May, June, July. That is, these are the 4-month period. The length means remaining 8 months. So he have to consider the remaining period. If it is more, that is, if the remaining period is lengthier, he absolutely have to apply what? More audit procedure, right? That for the purpose of obtaining additional audit evidence. Then control environment. I have already explained the meaning of control environment and factors in the control environment, that is determining whether it is operating efficiently and effectively as per SE 315. That is the ethical values, whether it has been properly communicated, and what. Then TCWG, their interaction, their independence, their involvement in other matters, whether there exists a proper communication in between them, whether they have whether they are experienced, whether there exists a proper supervision, management, what is their attitude towards the financial reporting framework, what is their attitude towards the information processing, what is their approach for the to reduce the business risk. Last one, how they are selecting and making the appointment of what? Human resource, that is whether the right person is appointed at the right time. So control environment is also plays a crucial role with respect of determining what? Additional audit evidence. If the control environment is weak, it is stating that they have to obtain more additional audit evidence, that is more audit procedure is required. So here we are continuing with our essay 330. We have already explained test of control at a session level, test of substantive procedure at a session level. Then interim audit evidence. Can auditor use interim audit evidence obtained to him with respect of the operational efficiency, or whether he is required to perform test of control for the remaining period, etc. Then the similar case is happening here. X, who is a chartered accountant, who was the auditor of ABC Limited for financial year 2016-17. Okay, sorry, 15-16. We will take 15-16. And same auditor X is appointed to audit for the financial year 2016 and as well as 17. So here my question is, he have already obtained audit evidence with respect of ABC Limited and its operation, audit evidence with respect of the operational efficiency of ABC Limited in 15-16, and as well as the same auditor is appointing for the purpose in the financial year 2016-17. So can he use the audit evidence or the experience that he has gained during the previous period or the prior period? It means that can he use his prior experience with the entity for determining the operational efficiency of the internal control? This is my question. So this is depends upon certain factors. I have explained here what are the factors that will determine. First of all, check the element of internal control system and whether there exist any changes. What is mean by it? We have already discussed the elements. Did you remember? As per in essay 315 we have already discussed along with this what are the elements of internal control system: control environment, risk assessment procedures and control activities, monitoring, information processing. So auditor have to determine what are the elements of the internal control system, whether all these are undertaking appropriately, whether auditor obtains sufficient and appropriate audit evidence with respect of the operational efficiency of the internal control system, and determine whether there exist any changes. Suppose in the prior period there was not the control environment was that much of adequate, or it was not operating efficiently, but in this financial year or during the current period there is made a lot of changes and according to the circumstances, and it is operating efficiently and effectively. So it means that he cannot use what? His prior experience, right? So auditor have to check element of each and every element of internal control system and determine whether there exist any changes. Then type of internal control system or type of control procedures and the risk that has been identified during the previous period, that is types of control and risk. The control procedure can be either on manual basis or it can be what, computerized or electronic mode. Then auditor have to determine if it is manual, whether it has been operated effectively, efficiently, and whether it is automated, whether it is operated efficiently and effectively. And auditor should determine the risk that he has identified during the prior period, whether it is because of manual operation or whether it is because of the automation, and whether there exists any change in the existing circumstances. Then what? Effectiveness of the IT control. Normal, okay? Effectiveness of IT control, that is whether it is operating efficiently and effectively. In that case, auditor may use what? Audit evidence that has been obtained in the prior period. Then control procedure and its application, that is whether there exists any control procedure. Already auditor have experience with that entity. In that case, auditor may have what? Information with respect of control procedures that has been applied by the entity, whether they are making the proper application or whether they are making the consistent application. These are also determining what? Using of audit evidence of the previous experience, from the previous experience, to determine the operational efficiency of the internal control. Then change in circumstances. Whatever the circumstances in the prior period will not be continuing in this current period, right? There may happen some changes. Auditor have to determine what are the changes occurred, whether there is any change in the circumstance. In the previous period, they were used manual system or manual control procedures, but now they are using what? Electronic methods, so as to determine the internal control system, to ensure the efficiency of internal control system. So in that case, auditor cannot use the audit evidence that has been obtained in the previous period or the prior period. In that case, he have to make what? Change in audit procedures. So change in circumstance. So which are the element that is determining whether auditor can use his prior experience for the purpose of determining the operational efficiency of internal control system. Element of internal control system, whether there is any changes. Types of control, whether it is manual or automated. Then effectiveness of the IT control procedure, whether they are making the application or whether they are making the consistent application. Change in the circumstances. Suppose we are at the finishing point, okay? These are the only point that we are left discussing this, okay? Suppose auditor has identified or auditor has assessed risk of material misstatement at the assertion level, and that risk of material misstatement is what? Significant risk. Identified risk of material misstatement at assertion level constituting a significant risk. In that case, auditor should apply test of control procedure and substantive procedures specifically responsive to that risk. That is specifically responsive to that risk. If auditor is identifying a risk with respect of a particular item, determine whether it is significant or not. If it is found to be significant, auditor have to apply specific test of control procedures and substantive procedure to that item as a response to assessed risk. So here we have completed what? Our essay 330. I am moving towards what? Explaining or a fast revision of essay 330. I have already provided a chart with respect of essay 315. I hope you understand with respect of that. If you want, you can make a screenshot with respect of the note that I am providing here. Okay, moving towards the fast track revision of essay 330. So here we are again explaining what? Essay 330. Auditor should identify and assess the risk of material misstatement as per essay 315. Then auditor have to respond to the assessed risk of material misstatement. It can be at the financial statement level or it can be at the assertion level. If it is at the financial statement level, auditor should respond, that is overall response, to obtain what? Persuasive audit evidence. We have already discussed what is the overall response, that is what? Incorporate professional skepticism, discussion with the engagement team, and what? Making general changes to the nature, time, extent of audit procedure, incorporate unpredictability, etc. Then if it is at the assertion level, auditor shall perform what? Test of control and as well as what? Substantive procedures, right? That is auditor, if auditor identify and assess risk of material misstatement as per essay 315 at the assertion level, auditor shall perform what? Test of control, mainly for the purpose of determining the operational efficiency of the internal control system. Substantive procedure, okay? Sometimes substantive procedure may not provide what? Sufficient and appropriate information or evidence with respect of the assertion level. So as he should perform what? Test of control with that. Test of control. This is mainly for the purpose of obtaining reasonable assurance that the internal control system is operating efficiently or not, on which auditor should place what? Reasonable assurance. So auditor may use his prior experience subject to conditions. Subject to conditions. Then analytical procedure, that is audit. He may use audit procedures as like what? Inspection, inquiry, observation, re-performance. This is mainly for the purpose of getting audit evidence with respect of the existence, occurrence, valuations, and what? Rights, ownership with respect of the account balance, class of transactions, etc. So audit procedure may depends upon what? The nature of audit evidence available from that entity. He may perform what? Inspection, inquiry, observation, evaluation, re-performance, etc. Okay. Then observation. Okay. At the same time, auditor should consider the following aspect also: frequency, extent, length of time period, expected rate of deviations, etc. Okay. Then interim period. Can auditor use audit evidence which has been obtained to him in the interim period? Subject to condition. He should incorporate subsequent changes and determine additional audit evidence available, whether it is required or not, etc. This is also subject to condition. I have already explained it detailedly. Okay. Then substantive procedures. Substantive procedure can be determined in according to the circumstance. He may use substantive analytical procedure, test of details, external confirmation, and a combination of test of details and as well as substantive analytical procedure. So this is what SA 330 responds to assess the risk of material misstatement. I hope you have understand with respect of SA 330. We are moving towards our practice manual question number 6. Okay.